The other thing I found interesting was the complete, airbrushing of Prince Harry, who arrived with the only royals still in contact with him, Beatrice and Eugenie. The meeting, which was meant to be private at Windsor Castle, was a rare summons by King Charles as his health remains uncertain. However, the silence in the room was deafening. The king did not speak, instead, he handed the floor to Princess Anne. Then came a significant revelation that could forever alter the royal family's legacy, a jaw-dropping interview that has left many puzzled. Some sources fear that Prince Harry and Meghan might be permanently sidelined, with their children Archie and Lilibet stripped of royal recognition and titles, effectively frozen unofficially. What followed was not just disappointment but a significant collapse within the royal family. Prince Harry seemed visibly shaken, and for the first time, the door didn't just close, it locked. Meghan, as usual, was nowhere to be seen. He revealed over the weekend that he has been cut off by his father, King Charles, again, claiming the monarch won't speak to him. This followed Prince Harry's failed legal attempt regarding his security. Let's begin with the unsettling silence. King Charles, a monarch known for measured diplomacy, shocked even his closest family members by not delivering his final statement. He didn't sit at the head of the table as usual, with his composed authority. Instead, he sat back, eyes focused, hands folded, and handed the task to Princess Anne. This gesture spoke volumes. It wasn't just a discussion, it was a duty being executed. By allowing Anne to speak on his behalf, Charles sent a message to everyone in the room. He also unleashed a series of harsh criticisms aimed at his family. I find it most telling that the soundbite everyone grabbed was Harry's desire for reconciliation. His personal feelings no longer shielded his youngest son from consequences. After years of public betrayals, Oprah interviews, Netflix documentaries, and memoirs that criticized the monarchy, the king finally drew a red line, and it was Princess Anne, the monarchy's most loyal figure, who was entrusted with enforcing it. This wasn't an olive branch, it was a royal eviction notice. Then came the gut punch. Princess Anne read what many insiders now confirm as the most controversial part of the king's directive: Archie and Lilibet will not be recognized as his and her royal highnesses, now or in the future. For Meghan Markle, this was a significant blow. She has spent the last 3 years subtly but consistently pushing for her children to be granted royal status. It took Prince Harry 40 years to learn the definition of consequences, but it was Princess Diana who once referred to her youngest son as thick and accused the palace of racism and institutional bias during her 2021 Oprah interview. But this situation wasn't about race, it was about rules and loyalty. By stepping down as working royals, Harry and Meghan forfeited the right to pass down their titles. Their expectation that they could publicly criticize the monarchy while privately enjoying its privileges was naive at best and manipulative at worst. If there was ever a moment to test the royal family's willingness to show even a symbolic gesture of warmth to Prince Harry's son, it was Archie's recent birthday. But the silence from Buckingham Palace was deafening. On May 6, not a single public message came from any senior royal, not from King Charles, Prince William, or even the official royal family social media accounts. This stood in stark contrast to previous years, where minimal birthday greetings were offered, even amid tensions. This year's total lack of recognition marked a deliberate shift. No cake emojis, no throwback photos, nothing. Meanwhile, birthday tributes flowed freely for working royals, no matter how minor. Even Princess Eugenie's son, August, received a mention on his special day. The message was clear: Archie is no longer part of the family he was born into, and it appears that the monarchy no longer acknowledges his presence. Sources close to the palace have indicated that this was no oversight. Now, in California, the Duchess of Sussex has been making moves. They hired a new chief of staff. Can you imagine needing one, especially when you're not even the president? Aiden mentioned yesterday that it was a strategic choice reflecting internal consensus that Archie and Lilibet would not be included in royal protocols as long as Harry and Meghan remain outside the royal fold and continue to capitalize on their royal connections. For Harry, this was another emotional blow, especially considering that his father, King Charles, shares a birthday month with his grandson. With trust broken and ties severed, even the children have become collateral damage in the Sussexes' ongoing issues with the crown. This wasn't just a slight, it was a statement: you made your choice, and so did we. The royal family has drawn a clear line: if you're not supporting the crown, your children don't carry its titles, period. As they both decided that it wasn't going to work out, there is also the history of their time as working members of the royal family. But if that wasn't humiliating enough, the next point made the situation even worse. The Sussexes were reminded firmly and clearly that they are no longer allowed to use their royal titles for any commercial, political, or public-facing activities. This means no more Duke and Duchess of Sussex across Netflix deals, charity press releases, or Archwell branding. To be clear, this was part of the original Sandringham Agreement made in 2020. However, the couple had often pushed the boundaries of that agreement, branding themselves as global royals without fulfilling the royal duties. There has been quite a turnover of staff in the last few years. King Charles has lost several key members who stayed on during the transition after the late Queen's death but have since moved on. Harry refers to himself as Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, in his lawsuits, and Meghan's social media and press releases heavily rely on the Duchess branding. They present themselves as part-time royals when it suits them but full-time victims when criticized. This time, however, the palace isn't playing along. The new directive is clear: using royal status by non-working royals is unauthorized, inauthentic, and now unacceptable. Now, regarding the fallout, it seems that someone with experience in philanthropy will be involved. The problem with the Sussexes is that they also need to generate income, and it's uncertain whether their new hires have sufficient experience on that front. Meanwhile, sources close to Windsor confirm that Prince Harry was visibly distressed. One palace aide described him as fractured, while another said he was seething, cornered, and unraveling minute by minute. Imagine it: a man who was once second in line to the throne, now a silent observer as his family effectively excludes him from royal life. According to those present, Harry's hands trembled, his eyes nervously shifted between Princess Anne and Prince William, and his mouth remained clenched as he sat in silence, the weight of his choices finally sinking in. No press team, no Meghan to back him up, and no Netflix crew to edit out the discomfort. There have been suggestions that it's all a public relations stunt, but behind the scenes, things are not great. Maybe I'm missing something, but there's clearly a lot of tension, particularly from Harry regarding the family rift, and the cold reality being delivered by blood relatives who have simply had enough. Harry didn't storm out or protest, he sat there, shaken, pale, and for the first time in years, powerless. And this was just the beginning. What Princess Anne revealed next could shake the monarchy even more and create fresh tensions between the Crown and California. With Parliament quietly supporting these moves, Meghan's absence is becoming impossible to overlook. The Sussexes now face a harsh truth: they are no longer part of the royal family. Stay tuned for the next explosive developments, including William's shocked reaction and what the king's long-term plans could mean for Archie and Lilibet. Just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, Princess Anne delivered the next devastating blow. The king's decree didn't just affect the titles Meghan and Harry currently use, it extended to the future, blocking any and all attempts by the Sussexes to associate new ventures, charitable foundations, or advocacy campaigns with the royal institution. No more royal-style appearances, no more vague references to duty or legacy, no more using Diana's memory as moral leverage. However, he was simply expressing his thoughts about his father's situation. Still, I think they are doing okay as a couple, based on what I've gathered. And let's be honest, it's nice to see, you want them to be happy. But insiders say this is what truly enraged Harry, because it cuts off the couple's greatest leverage. Their entire post-royal brand, from Spotify to Archwell to Netflix, hinges on the illusion of royalty. But with this decision, the firm has stripped that illusion away, and it's not just a personal punishment, but a strategic block against brand exploitation going forward. Any attempt by the Sussexes to imply royal endorsement will now face legal consequences. This isn't just a formality, it's a direct attack on their income stream. Perhaps the most telling sign of all was Meghan Markle's glaring absence from the meeting. While royalists speculated about illness or scheduling conflicts, palace aides privately offered a different explanation: Meghan simply didn't want to be there. This wasn't just a family summit, it was a seismic turning point for the monarchy, and Meghan chose to sit it out. Whether due to fear, pride, or disdain, her absence sent a loud and clear message: she no longer views the monarchy as a seat of authority. But the monarchy noticed. Princess Anne's tone, William's clipped responses, and the king's cold silence all reportedly pointed to deeper resentment. Meghan is not only physically absent, she's spiritually severed from the institution, making her a non-entity in royal decisions. In royal circles, that's not just an insult, it's a deadly blow to her standing. If you think this is just family drama, think again. Behind the scenes, British Parliament is quietly aligning with the palace, reinforcing the decision to strip titles, block branding, and end public confusion about the Sussexes' role. Multiple MPs from both sides have reportedly raised concerns about the ambiguity surrounding Harry and Meghan's status, especially considering their political commentary, media ventures, and financial ties to controversial organizations. Sources within Whitehall confirm that discussions are underway to formalize the consequences of stepping down from royal duties. This includes blocking future attempts to re-enter public funding, prohibiting the use of HRH in diplomatic, media, or business dealings, and most explosively, reclassifying Harry and Meghan's children as private citizens, not royal figures. It's no longer just about tradition, it's now about national clarity. As if the room wasn't tense enough, it was Prince William who bore the final burden and concluded the king's message. All eyes reportedly turned to the heir apparent. For William, this wasn't just another chapter in royal duty, it was the moment he realized he was now the face of the future monarchy. Gone is the illusion that Harry might return, gone is the hope that reconciliation might heal the cracks. Instead, William now shoulders the full task of upholding the family name without his brother, without Meghan, and without the once charming image of the Fab Four. Sources say William looked stunned, his face stiff, his hands clenched, his voice barely above a whisper when he finally responded, "Understood." It was more than acknowledgement, it was acceptance of a crown forged in fire, not unity. While Harry's world crumbles, Meghan remains silent. But silence won't last long. Behind the scenes, sources say she's preparing a move, one that could escalate the royal conflict to a new level. Next, we'll explore Meghan's reported fury, potential media retaliation, and whether the California-based couple is plotting a comeback in disguise, as the doors of Windsor Castle closed behind them.